Hey, good morning, everybody. It's time for the morning briefing. I know you're noticing that my voice is not matching up with this audio. That's because we had a little microphone problem in the beginning of today's morning briefing. So I thought I'd come on here and voice over, and kind of looks funny anyway. And then we'll get into the report with you because we got a lot to cover with you. Had a great day yesterday down at H&M Landing in beautiful San Diego. We did a podcast with Bill Wilkerson that you're going to love. He not only talks about the current bite, but he has some memories about a big eye tuna bite out of San Diego several years ago on board the Producer with Captain Ray Sobiak that's going to blow your mind. And that will be available to you here shortly. So make sure you come back and listen to this exclusive podcast I just did with Bill on board the Malahini. You are going to love it. And actually, this gives me a chance to update a bite that we didn't have on the morning briefing. I just heard about it. The Dreamer yesterday, limits of white sea bass. Our dear friend Bert Carlson was on board, and he said it was phenomenal. The fish fired up. They can only take one fish per person. The big one, 53 pounds. Gorgeous fish. Bert said if the limit would have been 3, they probably could have gotten up to that. It was that good and that productive. Bert is on our 2-day trip June the 15th when the limit goes to 3, the first days that it happens. And he just said, we are going to get them. He is so happy and so stoked about that. I had a chance to visit with a couple of old dear friends of mine. Tommy Rothery, the great captain of the Polaris Supreme. I spent several precious hours with him and his daughter Jessica. That was so much fun. And Nick Curcione. He was my sociology professor at Loyola Marymount University, but he's also a very, very great author, prolific long-range author, as well as fly fishing author. Had so much great time with them. All right, the audio is settled down, so we can match everything up now. My lips are not like moving in another direction than when I'm talking. Sorry about that audio problem in the beginning, but we're ready to go now. We can go back and join that crazy guy at the beach talking to himself. Now, once again, the Amigo out of 22nd Street Landing in San Pedro. We've got 1 or 2 spots left now, I think. Somebody just bought one at 3 o'clock this morning. So we are going on a 2-day trip out of San Pedro on June 15th when the white sea bass limit goes to 3. Crossed fingers that the weather's going to cooperate. If it does, man, that's going to be one heck of a trip. You can join us. Make sure you just send me a text at 657-227-6459. Down in San Diego, off Ensenada, above Ensenada, off Rosarita Beach, Puerto Nuevo, around the tuna pens. That bluefin tuna bite is going very, very well. The Pegasus last night, we got word that they were into some really good fishing on the bluefin tuna, and it's a mix of fish. You get fish from 18 to 200 pounds. Most of it still in that, I want to say 70 to 150 pound range. Gorgeous grade of fish, but every day is different. Some days you get straight smaller fish, those little tiny 40 pounders. It's amazing that we're even saying that. And then other times, of course, you get into some straight big ones that just rip you apart. The reason I say that is because you've got to vary your tackle. You've got to bring, you can bring that 30 pound, 40 pound fluorocarbon to fish the kelp patty yellows, but to fish this bluefin tuna, for the most part, you're going to need 100, 130 pound, and you're going to have a 2-speed reel. They are big, they are tough, and the reason why you lose fish is because you're on them too long. The longer you are on a bluefin tuna, the longer it has to chafe through your line, and that's another good reason to use fluorocarbon. Fluorocarbon leaders are abrasion resistant. So whatever fluoro you like, go with. We go with Opsin fluorocarbon here at Friedman Adventures, www.opsinusa.com. Put in FA at checkout. You'll get a free gift and a note from Greg Brown. So once again, some pretty good fishing down there. Several boats had limits yesterday. I told you the Pegasus was into some good fishing. Got a bunch of guys from Island Fishing Tackle on there. So I'm happy to hear that they're doing well. And also, the 6 a.m. boats at it again. Once again, the Liberty, 23 bluefin tuna, 70 to 170 pounds on boats that leave at 6 a.m. like the Malahini. That is tremendous fishing. On board the San Diego, they had 11 bluefin tuna. And the guys on the San Diego are telling you all, telling me, telling everybody who wants to go fishing, you've got to be proactive. What does that mean? It means working your jig furiously in the zone that they tell you to work it in. So you want to work in that 200 to 300 feet of water, up and down, fast, working it hard. That is really important. And then if you're bait fishing, what is super important, they see it all the time. The guys that drop down, they don't get a bite for a little while, they wind in and change their bait. Seems like a pain in the neck. At times you're thinking, no, I'm in the zone, man. I want to leave my bait here. There's some reason that bait is not getting bit. Now, I don't know what it is, and you don't know what it is, but it's not getting a bite. Change it. Change your bait. Find the hottest bait in the well, pin that on there, and drop it down. And of course, the sinker rig you want to use, Sam De La Torre over there at Island Fishing Tackle in Carson, California, just did a great tutorial on the one you want to use. Just look at it, go down a few videos, and you'll see it, and you definitely want to be using it. It is so effective, such a great way to catch these bluefin tuna. And if you don't have time to watch it, you walk on board, make sure you ask a crew member. They're all in tune with it right now. They know how to help you get some fish. Pongas out of Ensenada continue to catch these fish, trolling around with the Mad Max. They're doing really, really well. However, it's getting a little breezy for ponga fishing. Not that they can't do it. I just want you to know, if you're crossing the border and you're going to jump on a ponga, it might be a little bit breezy here this weekend as the winds are picking up again. What a crazy spring this has been. Maybe when we hit the chronological, whatever it is, the 22nd or 23rd of June and move into summer, we'll put this in the rear view mirror. But for now, it has been an A1 pain in the neck. No question about it. Coronado Islands, as Bill Wilkerson will tell you in the podcast, there's some good fishing going on there, but everybody's driving by it for these bluefin tuna. But there's yellows there. There's some good calico bass fishing, rock fishing, really excellent fishing, but nobody's interested right now. And like, as I said to Bill, I can't blame them. I mean, you got these 200-300-pound BFTs. You're going to pass on the yellows. You even have a chance at some kelp patty yellows when you get offshore there. So that is something else if you're a private boater. Keep your eyes open for kelps, and you can catch a few of these 5 to mostly 15-pound yellows that are on kelps. Hard to find them on the weekends that have not been raked over the coals about 10,000 times, but you can pull it off. Hopefully you'll be able to do that. Let's talk coast right now. Still think there's a chance for barracuda. For the most part, we're not going to have all that wind on the coast, so that's great news. It's going to maintain water temperatures and clarity. There's some nice looking water right off Long Beach, San Pedro. Still think those barracuda could pop into the picture there. There's barracuda down south. On the other side of the border, down around Ensenada, they've been seeing and catching some barracuda. Same thing there off San Diego with some few yellowtail and a couple of nice sea bass for private boaters down there around La Jolla, and some yellows and calico bass and sand bass and, you know, little pokes of fish like that. The Monte Carlo out of 22nd Street Landing is fishing twilight tonight. As a matter of fact, you can jump on board, give 22nd Street Landing a call at 310-832-8304. And I got to tell you, what a shocking catch last night. Beautiful, big white sea bass on board the MC as they're picking away at the sculpin and bass at night. But every once in a while, lightning strikes, and that is so great to see that happy angler with that big WSB. He graces the video cover for the morning briefing today, and that is an exceptional catch. All right, let's work some more islands here. Catalina Island, still pretty slow fishing if you're looking for a surface bite. Yellows, sea bass, that kind of stuff. There's a few being caught. The wind is not going to affect cat this morning so much, so we'll be good. And it's just going to get breezy, kind of breezy. By the Monday or so, it might get a little too breezy, but not really. I think cat's going to be kind of okay. Hopefully it's not going to deteriorate conditions, because that's been the problem there at Catalina Island. It's been the problem everywhere with this wind. Water gets dirty, water gets cooler, and that's not good for our surface bite. We need it to warm up, stay warm consistently, stay clean, and that's when you get your bites. Cat could produce today, however. This morning we'll be watching that very closely. San Clemente Island getting breezy on us, and it looks like it's going to really affect the bite again. We're hoping that we can get back there with some decent weather, because there's sea bass, there's yellowtail there, there's nice halibut fishing, especially when you can get around and exploit those squid nests that are still there. So hopefully we'll get back to that here pretty darn soon. But for the most part, it's been a lot of rockfish with occasional catch of a few yellows, a few sea bass, a few halibut, but copious amounts of rockfish. So in most cases, you go home with a nice catch. Santa Barbara Island, San Nicolas Island, both those venues have been excellent at times on sea bass and yellows and halibut. We've seen copious amounts of flatties taken in that neck of the woods, but we got way too much wind, it seems like right now. It's nasty. It's going to stay that way for the weekend and maybe even into the weekdays. These are forecasts, so make sure you continue to check your weather, but it looks very bumpy out there. Private boaters should really be cautious about heading out into those necks of the woods. Channel Islands, and I know, these are all the Channel Islands actually, but the Channel Islands up there off Ventura Oxnard, off Ventura Harbor, sword fishing, some really great signal. Those guys, without this wind, would have been sitting on a powder keg that would have blown by now, and at times it continues to show life. There was a good smattering of sea bass and halibut up there in the Channel Islands yesterday. Really nice fishing. Aloha Spirit, for example, 18 guys with 8 white sea bass and a couple of halibut on board. The Ranger 85 is out there today. I know that because my research assistant, Scott Buchert, is decking on there, and I talked to him on the way out. So they're out there giving it a go. Several other guys are trying to make it happen also. So we'll see if anything happens, but their weather is, again, kind of spitty up there right now. It is a little bit on the nasty side. Once again, the Endeavor just a few days ago out of Ventura Harbor sport fishing, nice hit, beautiful hit. Excellent fishing with limits of white sea bass. Doesn't surprise me one bit. Tucker McCombs is such an outstanding fisherman. Coastal region, along the coast, the Matt Walsh, it's not the Matt Walsh, it's the California, up there out of Ventura Harbor sport fishing, should be able to fish the coast along with the Island Spirit, and they have been picking away at some calico bass, some sand bass, a little bit of halibut, and also seeing some barracuda up there in that neck of the woods. So high hopes that will continue. We'll be watching it very closely. So everybody, we'll have to watch this weather a little bit. Down south, that tuna bite, still incredible. 6 a.m. boats in on the fish. Pegasus sounded like they had some good fishing last night. And we have the Thunderbird headed down that way. We'll see how they do, and hopefully they'll get in on some BFT, because that would be a nice shot in the arm. There are some breezy conditions we're going to watch for you, and we'll keep our eyes on high surf. Watch your surf fishing. Be careful about that. If we get some wind on this, like we will here this afternoon, it gets dangerous. So if you're coming down with kids or anything, I do want you to be very, very careful. A lot of corvina starting to show up along the beaches right now, fishing mussel, ghost shrimp, sandworms, all very, very effective. Some yellowfin croaker. God, those yellowfin croaker. I told Nick Curcione, I almost, hey Nick, you almost lost out to a yellowfin croaker. If it wasn't for his wife Kathy, I probably would have thrown him under the bus on that one. But there are some yellowfin croakers, some spotfin croaker, halibut. We just came off a grunion run, so those fish are kind of active on the beaches right now. Lucky Craft Lures, such a great way to go on that, as well as crocodiles, and also a little chrome Castmasters work pretty well. And of course, fishing grunion. However, this is all observation right now, so you would have to have frozen grunion like me, and I have a whole bunch up there that I can fish with here on the beach. So pretty active surf fishing, but watch the heavy surf. It's going to be big surf, and I want you to be very careful about that. All right, everybody, as always, I can't thank you enough for choosing to spend a little bit of time with me this morning. It's always my pleasure to be with you as we continue to grow. Please share a video from Friedman Adventures with a good friend. Give us a like here. It really helps us a lot to hit that like button. Smash that like button. And once again, I say thank you to each and every one of you who are helping us to grow. Just exceeded 9,000 hours of content consumed in the last 28 days, and it just keeps going up. And I know who's responsible for that. That's you, and I appreciate it very much. Have a great Saturday. Have a great weekend. Catch lots of fish. Be careful. See you soon, everybody.